This is a watercolor painting with a silhouetted nativity. We can use either watercolor, Sharpie, or black marker for the silhouette. First, we are going to do the watercolor. I am using just a regular Crayola watercolor set. The important thing you want to remember for these is that you really loosen up these colors to begin with. So you want to dip in the water and then just really spin your brush. I do a circular motion, not so that I'm pressing down to make all of the bristles spread out, but just kind of almost spinning it in that color there. We also want to remember that it is best to get the colors to blend together if they are wet when you are doing that. So when we are switching from color to color, we're going to want to do it rather quickly so that it doesn't dry out. But to get the brightest, most vibrant colors, we're going to really want to load up that brush with a lot of color. There are some different methods I'm going to show you to do this. The nice thing about this is that it can be a little messy when you're applying it because it's not going to be the focus, it's more going to be the background. So you don't have to do an exact application. It can kind of just be splotches here and there. You can take your brush and just put plain water on it to make more of a wash so that it gets a little bit lighter. If you want it to be more vibrant, like I said, load up that brush with more paint and reapply. You can also do layers. So if you don't think it's dark enough, a little bit later, you can add more on top. All right, I'm going to switch to purple now, and I can kind of just go in there and slowly pull the purple into the blue, and you can see how it blends. Again, if you want it to blend a little bit more, you can add just more water on top of it, and it will create what we call a bloom, where like the fingers of the paint kind of spread out into each other. You'll be able to see that more in this area. And I'm going to switch back to my blue here. And you can even add a little black if you want it to get darker, but you just need to make sure that you kind of blend it together while it's wet. If you try and do it while it's dry, it will just go over the top of it and it won't blend together. So it is important to blend while it's wet. And you can see how I'm not blending over the entirety of what I've painted. I'm just adding some here and there to get that variation of color. If you want to paint with a dark purple, what you can do is take some black, put it in your lid here, clean out your brush, grab some of that purple and mix it in here, and then apply it to your paper. That is another way that you can mix colors and blend colors. Now another cool thing that you can do that appears to be somewhat of a splatter paint but is much less messy is you can take salt, just regular table salt, and sprinkle it on top of your wet paint, and it will create little stars. I'm not sure how easily you'll be able to see that on the video, but once it dries, you rub off the salt and then you'll have like little stars in your sky, which is pretty cool. That's just another part that you could add. It has to be applied though when it is wet, otherwise it won't work. So for your sky, you can mix colors. I'm using primarily blues and purples right now. You would want to stick to your what we call analogous colors, which are the colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. So, so that would be your, if you were using blue and purple, the color next to purple is red, and that's going to create your red violet, which is a tertiary color mixing a primary and a secondary color together. I would steer clear of green, just because it would probably make that purple look a little more muddy. Blue and red make purple, so I would stick to using those three colors. And then black is fine just because it will create a darker shade of those colors, so that is safe to use too. But again, you want to do it while it's wet so that it blends nicely into the other ones. Okay, you can kind of start to see some of those stars appearing here. I can sprinkle a little bit more on, and you don't have to do very much at all. It comes out pretty quickly. So just a little bit here and there. If you want to pinch it and kind of rub it on there, you can do that as well. That might create a more even application of those stars. For this, I would try and go probably down to here on your paper with the sky. You're going to create your horizon line, which divides the sky from the land, and then you can silhouette like a little hill if you wanted to. So that would all be black down here. But yeah, I would keep bringing that sky all the way down to this part here. Mix a little red in there. Purple. Notice too how my brush strokes are going back and forth. I'm not going up and down. I am going side to side. I don't want to, with watercolor, you can see the direction of your brush strokes. So for this, you would want it to, you know, when you look in the sky, when you see a sunset, the lines are very horizontal. You don't see vertical lines. So you would want to make sure that you want to keep that going horizontal. They can even appear to be clouds if you have those lines. But yeah, if you started going up and down, side to side, crisscross, that would make it look not like a sky. It would kind of be a mess. I did leave a little bit of white on the edge. That is up to the artist. Many watercolor artists kind of leave a little bit on the side, just, I don't know, that's their preference. If you don't like that, you can cover it all. If you do like it, go ahead and leave some white on the edges. All right, so then I would want to make sure that this is dry before I wipe off the salt. If you want to put another layer in, you can, but that would ruin your stars. So if you were intending to do more than one layer, you would have to redo the stars. Otherwise, you would let it dry and then fully, completely. Then you can just brush off the salt, and then you would be ready for your next step, the silhouette.